What's good, y'all? Back again, another day. In today's video, what we're talking about is not letting people dim your shine. But of course, as you know, before we do that, make sure you drop a like, make sure you leave a comment, make sure you subscribe, make sure you share so we can get this message across the air everywhere. You know what I'm saying? Um, Need to get my subscriptions up, need to get my likes up. So make sure you show your boy some love. And like I said, it's not about the fame or the clout. You know, these videos, I try to make them very positive, and I try to make sure that we include things that you can use in your everyday life to improve your life or the life of somebody that you care about, without a doubt. So make sure that you do your part so that I can keep making these videos and trying to reach one every single day. With that being said, let's go ahead and get started. But before we do, let me take a shot of my water. So as you know, I'm still doing this 75 hard challenge, and it is a beast mentally. A gallon every day or more. All right. So what I wanted to talk about today, of course, was not letting anybody dim your shine. And actually, what inspired me to make this video rather, was I was watching Dora the Explorer with my aunt, uncle, Coy, and my little cousin, which is his age. So as we were watching the movie, my uncle and I just kept looking at each other and laughing because a lot of the conversations that we had were just popping up in the movie. You know, a lot of y'all aren't blessed to have a good male figure in your life that you can just talk to about, challenges and tribulations that you go through. As I've gotten older, I've been lucky enough to encounter numerous ones that actually are men, like men, solid men that take care of their household. They build, they provide. Um, they're starting businesses or they have businesses, and they're not just playing around. You have a lot of people out here that consider themselves men, but they aren't getting after it. A man is going after it by any means, and it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks or how else they feel about it. They're constantly pursuing their goal and their passion. So that's something that I can say that I've been blessed to encounter as I've gotten older. But anyways, like I said, we were watching Dora the Explorer, the movie, the live action movie, and Eva Longoria was in there, and I'm not the biggest fan of her right now because of what she said. But that's a whole nother episode. I'm gonna get into all of that as far as politics and the Democrats and how they really feel about us and whatnot. And I'm not really big on talking about politics. There's a whole lot of other channels that are way more versed in it that could give you way better information. But some things are just so flagrant that I can't really ignore, and I wouldn't really feel right just not saying anything about it at all. So I definitely have a video about that coming soon. Eva Longoria and just the Democratic Party as a whole, and the Republican Party, and just elections and government and the whole nine. We'll get into that, but not today. Right now, we're talking about Dora the Explorer. So what I really liked about the movie is it focused on Dora, of course, but it wasn't coming from a standpoint of the super female empowerment, women can do everything and men can't do anything at all type movies. I'm not really a big fan of those. It's just it's just super divisive. We don't need movies about men running around doing everything by themselves, just like we don't need movies about women running around doing everything by themselves. We need movies that talk about teamwork, working together, communities and whatnot. And the Dora the Explorer movie really hit on that. It was super big on heritage and family. Um, so, of course, Eva Longoria was the mom, and the father was it was a Spanish actor. I can't think of any movies that he was in, but he's a pretty notable actor. You know what I'm saying? He's not like a random a random. He was in a couple of movies and he has a name to him. I just don't remember his name or any of the movies that he was in. But if you see his face, then more than likely you'll know who I'm talking about. But one of the very important things that Dora's mother and father told Dora when she was young was that, we're explorers, we're not treasure hunters. And that part right there really hit for me because a lot of people are treasure hunters, meaning that they're seeking the end result, meaning that they want the fame, they want the money, they want the cars and whatnot. But the parents were saying, we're explorers. We leave the treasure alone. We don't even care about the treasure. We're just in love with the process. We're in love with the discovery. We're in love with the hunt. And a lot of, I think society would be a lot better if we got back to that. Falling in love with the process of doing things and falling in love with working out the steps and figuring stuff out instead of just being in love with the things that come at the end result. And I always use the analogy of school. People think that graduation is a celebration, but graduation, people work hard to graduate. People don't work hard to graduate. They work hard to get their education, and they get their education while they're in school. Graduation is just a celebration to show that they've accomplished the goal. A lot of people look forward to graduation, but once you finish school, you've already graduated. The ceremony just shows everybody else that you did and you earned what you said you were going to do. Getting that degree and that diploma is just a certificate that says you completed a certain thing. But you completed it way before that. You completed it those nights where you were working and you could have gave up, but you did. When you study extra hard to pass that test that you didn't think that you were capable of passing. When you understand a concept that made no sense to you prior, but you worked on it and you built it. Those are the moments that you should really cherish because those are skills that you can apply in life. You can't apply a graduation. Once you graduate and you walk across the stage, it's over. You can't go back and tell somebody, hey, I graduated, and then it's like you get on the job and they ask you, can you do this? And you say, no, I can't do that, but I graduated. You learn these skills so that you can apply them. You don't learn them just to graduate. And I think that's where a lot of people get it confused and they get it wrong, especially in our community. We think that graduating is the end all be all, when in actuality, graduation is nothing. The things that we do to get to graduation is what's important. The work that you put in, the lessons that you learn, the studying that you take, and then you use that and you apply it to actually move and build on the next level. So that was super dope to me. And also, the biggest takeaway more than anything was just the internal happiness that Dora had. Dora was out in the jungle her entire life and she wasn't really around people. So she was just this happy go lucky person. She was dancing and singing and just super smart. And the rest of the school didn't like it because it put Dora in high school, you know. So without giving away too many spoilers, Dora gets into high school, and anybody that's been to high school, everybody's just in a rut. Nobody's really happy in high school. You have a lot of people that are trying to figure out where they fit. You have the not the nerds, you have the jocks, you have the regular people that are just trying to fit in. In the midst of that, you have a lot of people that are just trying to figure out life. Hormones raging, the whole nine, just that high school environment. And Dora pops up. She don't care about none of that. She just singing and dancing and answering questions, being super smart and speaking and thanking the lunch ladies and the cafeteria ladies and the janitors. And everybody's looking at her like she's crazy. And that stood out to me the most because it's like you have somebody that's just happy and they're enjoying life and everybody's going out their way to try to bring her down or embarrass her for enjoying life. And it's so crazy because I was reading a book a while ago. It's called The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. And it's a meditation book and it introduces people into how to meditate. And so he was talking about the pain body, which essentially is suffering. And he believes that everybody has a pain body and everybody has a level of suffering. And if you're around anybody too long, that pain body comes out. And if you're having a great day, somebody else's suffering will pour off on you if you're not strong enough and if you're not prepared to deal with that. And seeing that movie, it was just like real time pain body, just watching people mad because somebody's happy. And it just made me think, why is it so weird when we see people that are happy? Why can't people be happy? And it made me think about my uncle and how we talked about how everybody has their own path and people have their own journeys, their own destinations to go. That being said, it makes me think about another book y'all should definitely check out. It's called Siddhartha by Herman Hesse. And it's about a man that just went on his own journey, his own way, and on his path, he eventually discovered enlightenment. And he did everything. He slept with a prostitute who taught him about life. He joined a whole bunch of different religions, just trying it out, trying to figure out which one is the best for him. He became a boatman. He became homeless. And he just went on this journey. And at the end of the book, he became the wisest man in the world. He became Siddhartha. And for those of you who don't know, Siddhartha is the Buddha. He became the Buddha simply by following his path and living his life. And most times when people follow their path and live their life, it bothers other people so much. Like I'm telling you, a lot of times, a lot of the disputes that I've had in the later part of my life has been because the choices that I've made, and I don't stress out like other people, and they get mad because I don't stress out. They want me to be upset because they're upset if something goes bad, and for the most part I'm just not really tripping. It's like, how are we going to figure it out, or what are we going to do? How can we move past that? Everybody else is just so caught up in the moment that they can't see past the moment. They're just focused on the moment. And that sometimes irks people because they don't get over things quickly enough. For me personally, I don't really stay mad long because I don't linger on things. It's a waste of energy. I can immediately recognize when I've done something wrong. I want to try to correct it and fix it immediately because that's not right. Everybody isn't like that and everybody doesn't move like that. So that's caused a lot of conflict in my life personally. But, it was just so weird to see everybody upset because somebody's just happy and they're living their life. But that's real life. Um, Another thing that stood out about this movie was that level of education. Dora's parents homeschooled her in the jungle. And so when they put her in real school, she excelled around the rest of the students so much so that they were jealous of her because she was smart. And for her, it wasn't coming from a smartness of arrogance or pride. It was just, I just know this stuff because I study it. And as a whole, we can all learn from that because we need to make learning cool. It doesn't have to be a task to learn. It can be something as simple as just picking up a book and reading it, something that you're interested in that you may be able to apply later. Because you never know when you're going to use the things that you've learned. It may come out randomly. So you always want to just make sure that you're learning something new every day and that you're elevating. And then it just makes for good conversation. If you're talking to someone of the opposite sex and they're into something, and you can actually have an intellectual conversation about something that they're into, 9 times out of 10, their interest level in you is gonna go up so much more because it's not very often that you can find somebody that you can have an intellectual discussion about on anything, honestly. If it's not music or freaking television. Outside of that, it's very rare to have a conversation with someone that actually knows what they're talking about on a higher level. And it's not just mumbo jumbo, or it's not something that they just took away from social media. It's actually something that they studied and they researched and they developed on their own and they came up with their own belief. So definitely education that stood out a lot to me. And then Trader. So there was a character in the movie that was running with Dora and her friends. They put a really big emphasis on team and community once again. But there was a traitor amongst them. And once they realized that he was a traitor, they they let him go. Like, we have a habit of trying to save traitors and loving everybody and making things work when it's not able to work, and that's something that we need to get rid of as well. If somebody betrays you, then you let that person go. You don't have to be angry, you don't have to be mad, you don't have to be aggressive. You just let that person go and you move on. You remove that energy from your life and you keep it pushing. I always reference the story about the chick that, I did the wrong thing, I overreacted and I blew up. She got me up out of there. My energy was wrong. It wasn't fitting with what she had going on at the time, and she removed me from her life. And that's something that I'll never forget, and that's something that I keep in mind, and that's something that I implement as well. You know, if it's not right, or if it's not a good fit, or if somebody's putting the wrong things in your life, let them go and move on. Um, and then another thing, that movie really, 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 in summary, it made me think about a quote that I saw from Kobe Bryant, and he was talking to Draymond Green, and Draymond was talking about how he was bothered or upset because people were calling him a dirty player. And Kobe was like, I don't really care about what people say about me because I know I'm focused on something bigger. And that's the mentality that Dora had, like, throughout the whole movie. No matter what anybody said or what anybody was doing, Dora was focused on her vision, her goals, what she was working on. And then at the end of the movie, everybody loved Dora. They were laughing at her and teasing her for dancing and having a good time at the party. And then at the end of the movie, everybody else jumping in and joining her and dancing and having a good time. So sometimes you have to be that sacrificial lamb. Sometimes you have to, for lack of better terms, be Jesus. You have to carry the sin for everybody else. You have to carry your cross. You have to symbolically die so you can show everybody else what it really means to live. And then at the end, when they see that you're willing to go that hard for something that you believe in, eventually they'll turn around and they'll want to do it too. Think about Kobe. When Kobe was winning all them championships, people didn't like Kobe. They were calling him arrogant. They were trying to find all kind of reasons to disrespect Kobe and whatnot. And people hated Kobe. But as he got older and he kept winning and he kept moving forward, and he kept living his life, eventually people became to idolize Kobe and respect his work ethic. Or, they might not even like him, but they respected him because they knew he was a dog. He was always going to come out and he was going to perform no matter what you think, no matter how you felt. He was going to perform and he was going to show up. And that's the mentality that you have to have. Eventually, people are going to ignore you, and then they're going to turn to hate you. And then if you can survive that hate, then they'll end up loving you again. There's this thing called tall poppy syndrome, where if you're too high up, people want to chop you down to size so they can bring you like everybody else. But don't let them dim your brightness. Don't let them block your shine. Keep moving forward. Keep going further. And eventually, you're going to be so great. You're going to shine so bright that you're going to help them grow. The sunlight can burn or it can enhance. So you definitely want to be in that category where you're enhancing. And the best way you can enhance sometimes is just to continue to move forward. You understand? So don't let anybody slow you down. Don't let anybody stop you. Don't let anybody rain on your parade. Don't let anybody dim your brightness. If you know what you're working on, if you know where you're going, if you know what you're moving towards, keep pushing, go get it, and eventually everybody else will come on. Because a lot of people are followers. They don't really have no direction. They don't know where they're going. They don't know what they're doing. They just do what they're told. So if they see you and they see you being successful and they see your results, eventually they're going to want to come be a part of it. And it's the same ones that was talking junk, the same ones that was hating, the same ones that were saying you couldn't do it. They're going to be the ones coming back asking for advice or trying to learn tips or trying to see what you did so that they can do it. So just stay the course. Don't let anybody discourage you. Don't let anybody make you feel inferior. Keep going, and you can have any and everything that you want. All right.